Hey, what's going on? My name is Shred, and I'm joined today by Ragiroth. And thank you so much for joining, man. I really appreciate it. How you doing today?
Doing good, Shred. Thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. We've talked a lot in the gameplay chat. You have your own channel, so hey, guys, make sure to go check out Ragiroth. He has a really good YouTube channel, some great reaction videos, and a lot of gameplay on not just Mortal Kombat, but anime fighters, a little bit of Tekken. He did the beta. Speaking of, just real quick, I heard some pretty interesting, not interesting things. The beta, I've heard really good things, but also they're having like connection issues, or what was going on with that?
So, all right, when I played the beta, I definitely did had at some points I did have some trouble
Uh-huh.
getting in a match.
I mean, it is a
But
beta.
usually, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I did get in the matches,
Uh-huh.
generally speaking, at least on my end,
Uh-huh.
most of my matches were good. I think there was like one or two I had that were laggy, and I think there was like one I maybe lost. Like it just started and then it just got disconnected. But otherwise, on my end, it was totally smooth. I maybe wasn't playing as much as other people were, but I had zero little issues.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that was the main thing I was hearing about. Even Harada was tweeting like, we're doing some maintenance on this, on that, and everything. But it is the first beta, so I mean, don't expect it to be a perfect game, and everything. Same thing with like the stress. Did you get to play the Mortal Kombat stress test?
That I unfortunately did not, but I will get to
Uh,
play the beta since I pre-ordered the game, which I'm looking forward to that.
right. And when I played the stress test, even people I saw, even Tweety said the stress test was not a complete. He even said, oh gosh, what was it? He's like, oh, this is probably like a year old model of the game,
Heard some people saying that,
Mhm.
yeah, like I think there was some people saw something that was like trademarked in like 2022 or something like that. I don't know if that's actually like
Right.
the right, when it was from, but that was like
Mhm.
when a trademark was. Oh yeah, I guess I might have heard your opinions before, but what did you think of the stress test?
Oh, it was super fun and had no issues finding any games. I had so I was on P or am on PC, so I wasn't able to actually like get into the stress test because it was PS5 and X. Was it Xbox or just PS5?
I th-
I'm pretty sure it's
I
just
know
PS5 only.
Tekken the first week was only PlayStation, the second week was Xbox. I actually don't know with
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat
it
though.
was Xbox and PC, and that was also another thing. I was listening to another podcast, and it was Eris and a couple other guys, and I remember even Eris was like, "What? Someone was too afraid to say something, and Eris was like, just say it." And he goes, okay, I don't want them to put it on PC because I know people are going to, data mine everything and then do exactly what they did with Street Fighter 6, where they, made the hacked version and whatnot, and be accused of cheating. And he's like, why are you so afraid to say that, dude? Like, that's totally fine to say. You should be able to say
Yeah, that's
that.
a genuine complaint.
And it is, and I get that. And so far with fighting games, it's really weird because the PC ports are either the best thing, which they are in Street Fighter Six's case, but for Xbox, I'm sorry, Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11, the PC ports at first were not very good, and then they got better.
I
Yeah.
thought I mean I didn't play them on PC. I know X was rough, but I
Mhm.
thought 11 started off good. That's not true.
I felt it started off good. I heard some complaints about it, but what was funny was a lot of the professionals that I watched stream actually went over to PC because they liked to, because there's no input lag. It was on PS4 and is like it just felt not even, I don't want to say polished. It just felt like it responded better, I guess. But yeah, no, the so far everybody has said that the Tekken's really good. Of course there's like balance issues, but it's like that's a beta. You go into a beta and it's like you don't expect
Yeah.
that. As far as the stress test with Mortal Kombat, I did learn that I'm definitely not going to be a Katana main anymore.
How come?
She just didn't play the same way as she has before. I expected like a neutral based footsie side. She just felt a lot more tricky than she has
Hmm.
before. And I've always liked characters that are like very straightforward, you know?
Yeah, Katana, I'll be honest, like I've never been super crazy about how she played, at least compared to some of the other like female ninjas. She always felt like
Hmm.
kind of awkward to me or something like that. I always just felt way more at home with like Mileena, Jade, and like Scarlet.
Yeah, with Katana, I liked her. I actually did like her in Mortal Kombat 11. I really liked her in Mortal Kombat X and 9. Those are the two versions of her I really liked. And even in Street Fighter 6, I play like Cammy and Ken. I just liked a very pressure heavy, rush down, very straightforward characters. So like
It's
Smoke.
always fun to play.
Yeah, like Smoke and Lee May are the two characters that are really standing out to me. I'm, fingers crossed. I'm hoping that Ashrah is a lot more fluid, in neutral, like, the neutral mid-ranged footsie space character. And if Nitara is super aggressive, I'll definitely do, just based on character alone.
I feel like they got to make Nitara aggressive because I know one of the main kind of points of contention with her is the fact that like, oh, we already kind of have Blood Person Scarlet now, who just is a lot more intricate with that. And Scarlet was more of a zoner. Even though I kind of played her more mid range, but I know she's.
I played her in the mid range in MK11. I didn't zone with Scarlet.
Like I did here and there, but like I always would go up close at some point. But I feel like Nitara, the main way to kind of help differentiate her from Scarlet, so people aren't like, oh, she's just a Scarlet clone, is that make her more aggressive, in your face, biting you, air attacks, all that stuff.
That was the key phrase. There was air attacks.
And there's air combos in the game, so she should have some of the best air combos in the game.
She should be like aerial based. I think that would be super cool if she was. And this is before I knew that aerial combos were a thing again. In my Nitara video, I said that I thought it'd be really cool for her to have what I called an aerial stance. So, for instance, you play Street Fighter 6, right? Cammy's Hooligan. It'd be similar to that, to where she would flap her wings, go into the air, and then you can choose to either do dive kick, overhead, or throw, and then do something like that. I think Nitara would do really well if she would have some sort of flight mechanic where she's doing that. Kind of similar, I guess you can say, to MKX's Ermac flight mechanic. But I just thought that would be like super cool. But now that aerial combos are a thing, it's like, Nitara, according to Ed Boon, he was saying that there are characters who are going to do a lot better in the air, and I would expect Nitara to be one of those characters.
Okay, I actually didn't know he said that. That's interesting. So yeah, I definitely think Nitara will be one of those characters. I could see her being the I don't know how familiar you are with Smash Brothers, like how like Little Mac from Punch Out, he's so good on the ground but sucks in the air. Like Nitara could be like kind of the reverse Little Mac in Mortal Kombat 1. Just, maybe not sucking on the ground, but like just her bread and butter would be in the air. Yeah,
so I could see that, and I'm really looking forward to when they actually do reveal her, because the three characters, by the way, and I was saying this before, is that there are characters, for instance, I think Geras was shown at the perfect time, but like Lee May. So you were going to show, like, if you had to rank, the top three characters that are most requested in Mortal Kombat, it would probably go like Havoc, Ashrah, and then Lee May, right? And Nitara would be there too. If you're going to reveal a character at the beginning of your marketing campaign, you want to reveal like, you'd probably reveal like Lee May, Nitara, because they're heavily requested, but they're on the scale or the spectrum of like the requests. Havoc and Ashrah are like on the top there. So you're going to wait till the very, very end. So that doesn't surprise me that they haven't been revealed yet.
Yeah, Havoc is 100% the most requested 3D era character.
Yes.
That's interesting. Ashrah is that requested. I didn't know that. I actually always thought Lee May and Nitara were more requested than her.
You would be surprised. In the polls that I saw a poll that had 2,000 people be a poll on this poll, and of course Havoc was like number one. Number two was Ashrah, and I was thinking to myself, like, that's very strange, but people really, really like that character a lot. And I was always a Lee May Nitara fan in the 3D era, but when it came to like I was an Ashrah fan Of course, I liked her alternative costume a little bit better than her main, but that was just me.
I actually,
Yeah, for when you're a 16-year-old boy, yeah, you're just you know, yeah, that's the things you look at. But yeah, it's I think, you know, a lot of people really want that character back. I really want that character back. And some of the designs I've seen in the fan art, I think really played a huge part and role in that, because people are seeing what she could look like. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I will be honest. As much of an advocator as I am for 3D era characters, Ashrah was never one when I was like younger that clicked with me that much. But at the same time, I also was never the biggest I was never the biggest Tanya fan. Then for some reason, Mortal Kombat X, like I'm like, oh, I kind of like Tanya now. So like, I'm definitely open to her coming back and being revamped. And I actually would like, I think what would kind of help for me at least, if her design is kind of like the you
Ashrah?
saw the yeah, Ashrah.
Okay.
You saw the cage match trailer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really liked her design in that. I think that was a good combination of like her default and her alternate. I think if she looked like that, that would help. And I think she just needs some. I think she just needs some more moves. I don't know if this is like a weird take. I guess maybe it's just because I'm such a big Jun Kazama fan and Tekken. I was kind of hoping like maybe her or like Lee May would like maybe like give a little bit of like Jun Kazama vibes, and you know with her kind of being like using light and all that, maybe Ashrah could be that one to kind of have have some of that Jun Kazama and be like, all right, see what you're doing, Ashrah.
Yeah, because that's gonna be interesting, because I really like her story. I take
Cool.
I take that back. I really liked her story in Deception. It was kind of strange. It wasn't actually strange. It was very, very odd. And I see where they were, you know, trying to kind of push. I see where Vogel was trying to push boundaries with her story in 3D era, because Ashrah was very much like in Deception, you know, it was a redemption arc. She was trying to escape hell using the sword, killing demons to purify her soul and escape the hell that she lived in. That is the Netherrealm, right? Then you get into Armageddon, and she's suddenly, you know, brainwashed by this corrupt sword that is convincing her to kill vampires. And it was a major twist. I think it was a great idea executed poorly. And she was the rival to Nitara. And
It was very random.
yeah. It felt very random. And then you go to Nitara's vampire realm, and she's just trying to bring back her realm and separate it from Outworld again. And you become a vampire sympathizer because Nitara is suddenly is a protagonist because Ashrah is killing her people, but she's still a vampire.
Yeah, it's like she's not even a demon.
Yeah, exactly. And Ashrah is an actual demon, you know. And that I think that's the reason. When you talked a little bit about Sareena before you started recording, that is one of the biggest reasons why I like Sareena, is because I really like redemption arcs. So to have Sareena come back into the story, you really want her to have that redemption arc, you know, escape the clutches of Quan Chi and get out of the Netherrealm and, you know, join the Lin Kuei. Like you really want that to happen.
And see that I'm glad you brought that up, because that's another thing I want to mention with Ashrah. I'm a little worried that if it came down to it, they would be deciding, and I could be wrong about this. They could be deciding between Ashrah and Sareena, because they're both like, you know, they're both kind of 3D era female characters that are demons that are kind of turned good, and I could see them picking Ashrah just because I guess
it's going to be Ashrah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be.
First of all, I think objectively she matches the aesthetic more of the game, and I kind of feel like it's weird because I want to say, because they had Sareena be an NPC in MKX, but Ashrah was nowhere to be seen in any of them. To me, that would tell me they care more about Sareena, but I don't know. Then it kind of seems like I feel like back then at least, I feel like the attitude was more towards Ashrah, because Ashrah actually got to be a character in Deception, come back, and obviously come back in Armageddon. Now she's being featured in Cage Match. Well, I mean, they probably don't choose the animated movie stuff, but still, like it does. Yeah, I don't know. it's weird. It's really weird with those characters. I mean, they're completely different, like aesthetic wise and probably moveset wise, but like I do just feel like they might be deciding between those two. And I could 100% see when they show the trailer for Ashrah,
Yeah.
the cameo they're going to show her with is going to be Sareena. And I'm just
And Temp brought this up in another recording or another podcast where, and it's become kind of a joke on Twitter too, is like your main or your favorite is a cameo.
mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen a lot of those, and Temp kind of has this idea of, you know, be grateful that your character's even in the game. Because there are a lot of diehard Mortal Kombat fans that, for some odd reason, are their favorite character is Chameleon with a K, or Chameleon with the C. Chameleon, it doesn't matter which one. They're like huge diehard, you know, fans. Now, you know, I'm a huge Sareena fan, but for good reason, because of I like the redemption arcs. She has a great design, all sorts of things, right? And a lot of people are like diehard Frost fans for good reason, because Frost has a great design. You know, she was the angry orphan that joined the Lin Kuei after Bihan died, and before that, when Kuai Liang took over, he allowed female assassins to join, right? So there's a lot of reasons why people would like Frost. Cyborg, for instance, is that's his favorite character, is Frost. So
she's one of my favorites too. Yeah,
it's a great character, right? But she's a cameo. I don't think she's going to be a main. If she is a main, I pray to God they don't give her the MK11 design. But yeah, it's like she's in the game. So Temp was saying, like, you know, be grateful that your favorite character is a cameo, and I completely understand that. But at the same time, it's like, you know, if your favorite character is Lee May and she comes back as a cameo, yeah, I would kind of be a little bit upset about that. But
I think it's a case by case basis thing with me.
Yeah.
Like I understand more,
or like Reiko.
Yeah, exactly. Like, see, like characters like, all right, like Cyrax, Sector, like I love them. They're great, and it kind of sucks. They're getting kind of crapped on recently.
But they look so cool.
They look fantastic.
Dude, they look so good.
But I'm not as bothered with them being cameos as much, because at least we got them in Mortal Kombat 9. We kind of got them in Mortal Kombat X, kind of. And but like Sareena, like this poor girl has not been playable in a game
since 2006.
2006.
And before that, like, it was like 2001, 2000. Yeah,
I think it was 2000. Tournament Edition came out. It was a little after Deadly. I think it was like 2003 or 4.
Okay.
And that was actually my introduction to her, funnily enough. And it's just like, it's just so annoying. It just seems like she's a character that just she's so close and then just doesn't. And it's just like, come on.
You're right there. You're on the cusp. She's right there. It's like, there you go. It's like perfect character, you know?
I know. And it's just like, and my other thing too is like the cat, you know, I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. There's like Darrius as well, but I think people were asking for Darrius as much as they were asking for Sareena. Like Darrius has never, I feel like, come as close to making a roster as like Sareena has.
This is where I think NetherRealm is actually like testing the waters with Darrius, because he was such a hated character in Deception. Like I can't think of one person who liked Darrius in Deception.
See, I don't even like hate him. I was just so like, he's just there.
Exactly.
That's how a lot of Deception characters were. Yeah. Like I didn't hate them. They were just there. Like, it's weird. Like just
it is very them. No, it is very strange, because you're right. Darrius is just one of those characters. Same thing with like Hotaru made sense, but I
love Hotaru. I would like Hotaru to come back.
I would love Hotaru to come back. That would be really cool, because I also think we need more pole arm characters. You know, like Hotaru, like historically speaking, is more samurai than Kenshi is. If you really, the samurai walked around with katanas as it was kind of like a Rolex watch. You know, it showed how you know your status. It showed how wealthy you were. It was kind of like, you know, and in battle they didn't use the katana. It was like a backup. to them. You know, they used pole arms, bow and arrow mainly. They used naganatas. You know, that was their main form of weaponry was you know, or I forgot what the actual sword is called. It's like a very, very long katana, but it's like gosh, how
Odachi.
Yeah,
I think it sounds like
yeah. So Naginata is that one you were saying, but that was their main form. So Hotaru is more samurai than even Kenshi is, you know. And so, yeah, comment down below if you disagree with me. But
I think the unfortunate thing with Hotaru that I mean, I look, I love both his designs. I prefer the default actually, but
with the flags,
unfortunately both his well, I like his with the helmet off, but yeah, like he unfortunately one design people always like, oh, he just looks like Fujin. The other design, oh, he just looks like Cyrax. I think they just got to find a way to kind of like, you know, I don't know.
Find a way to. I don't think he looks like Fujin at all.
Cool regardless.
Yeah, I always liked his. I thought he had a pretty slick look. I always liked to look with the flags and everything. I thought that was super sick.
I just always liked him because I'm like, oh, he looks like Sephiroth. Cool.
But Hotaru is one of those prime characters that I think should come back as a cameo, and I really, really hope he does. I
would actually, and maybe I'm going crazy here. I would actually like to say the fact that Darrius is in as a cameo. I think it probably means like he's probably not well. Okay, they could be testing the waters like you said, but I would like to say, and the reason he's in before Hotaru is because like they're thinking like if we bring Hotaru back, we would like him to be playable. He's just not a top priority right now. Like he's like not quite as requested as like Havoc, Ashrah, Lime, Nitara, Reiko, and them, but he's like probably a tier, maybe a little under them.
Yeah,
so maybe they're kind of just and then the next game or something.
And that's exactly why I said like testing the waters is like, okay, let's see how let's see the kind of like, you know, what's the word for it? Not feedback, but how well he was received. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. How well Darrius is received, and so far he's been received extremely well. And even myself, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Darrius. And you know what's funny is normally if you were to ever talk about Darrius in any other conversation, it would be like, dude, why are we talking about Darrius? Like it's you know, but then you see him pop up and you're just like, oh my gosh, dude, that's freaking Darrius. Dude, Darrius looks slick too. He looks super good. And then you see his exactly, dude. And he's super 90s hip hop, bro. He's like, and
I always liked his weapon back in Deception. His weapons are cool. Those like Iron Blades.
Yeah, and it fit him perfectly too. Yeah,
they did find a good way to kind of work in the like the spinny kick move as kind of a new move.
Yeah, they did.
Like how you kind of like they swing them around and like the instead of the effect being blue, it was kind of like a most of like kind of multicolored or something.
Something like that. By the way, that was the spinny thing he did with Garrus in the trailer.
Yeah.
Was that a Garrus move or a Darrius move?
I would think
that looks more naturally in my reaction trailer. I immediately went to Darrius, but to me that seems more like something Garrus would do.
Well, here's the thing. Not sound like rage. I noticed in the Umgadi trailer the move that Darrius did for Tanya. I think like didn't Darrius come and do something, throw him into Tanya, and then he do something. What I'm thinking is maybe Darrius is a cameo that kind of works more with the character you're playing as. Like maybe he's somebody that doesn't come in and just do his own move. Maybe he like kind of does like sort of a combo move with your character, something like that.
Like his his moveset changes by the character.
I mean, that would be cool, but I was just thinking like, you know, like the moves he has, like he has a move where he throws the opponent into the player character. They do something and then he does something back, and he has one where they spin him around. And obviously, like, yeah, it probably looks more natural for Garrus just because Garrus is like a
bigger guy,
a big dude. So like him swinging around someone like that, you know, but yeah, I thought it was a Darrius move. Maybe I'm wrong though.
Yeah, I felt like it's a Darrius move too, but that was literally it. That was literally it, because I was like, I was actually like watching the trailer again today, thinking to myself, like, if you paired Lee May or Mileena with Darrius, it's like, that's going to look so weird if Mileena was grabbing Darrius and twirling him around, you know?
It would just be like her MK11 friendship, where she's throwing around the teddy bear.
Exactly.
But yeah, I agree. I guess, yeah, some characters.
I think it might be a Garrus thing. But
maybe it is, maybe not.
We'll see as the game comes out. Either way, it looks freaking cool. Like, I was kind of stoked on that one. But yeah, no, he looks super cool. But yeah, that's what I think. Testing the waters. It's like, how well is Darrius going to be received? And so far, he's been received extremely well. And because he was received so extremely well, I think Hotaru would be one of those characters as well that would be like, you know, received extremely well.
I was also going to say too, with like with Sareena just being a cameo, like, and maybe it doesn't make sense because it seems like they're making some new stuff up with Darrius, but like, it seems like, I feel like anything you would give her would have to be like new stuff. And like a lot of the cameos, they use moves that they've used in the past. And like Sareena never really had that much of an established moveset. She had like a knife throw, like that rapid kick move, and like just like a fireball.
She had the 3-star kick. Yeah, it's called the 3-star kick. She had the fireball. But dude, that's the thing though, is like not just her lore, because, well, I mean, this is a whole new era. We could get, they mentioned like things like Netherrealm, but I don't know. We might not even see Netherrealm. Like, I don't know. I think we probably
haven't really talked much about Netherrealm yet.
Exactly, in other realms as well, which is very strange. That's why I was always just like, how's a Denia gonna work? Because in Katana's moveset, it says like a Denian kick or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So in Katana says, you know, like you're fighting against an Adenian. So how's that gonna work when they are the royal family of Outworld? That's going to be strange, right? And I'm really curious to see how that works out. And I think Dominic Chinchillo on Twitter said, you know, something like you'll find out soon enough how the worlds work or something, because I think it's probably the realms might be a little bit different than before. I was always like, I wonder if Adenia is like a country of Outworld or something.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe it's like the Outworld is maybe split into different sections, and maybe Adenia is just one of the big sections of it, but it's not its own realm anymore.
Right. And it could be like, gosh, what Viternus, I think, is the vampire realm. So it's like,
it'd be really nice to actually see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they do that, please give it a red sky and make it like Victorian, so that way Nitara
actually look like it's out of Castlevania.
Exactly. It's like, make it look like that. That would be so sick.
Some guy with a whip is always just trying to challenge Nitara.
Yeah, like do something clever, man. It's like do something super cool. But yeah, it's like, I'm wondering how the worlds work and everything. So I'm very interested in this as well, as far as the story goes, to see how those worlds work. But yeah, with Sareena, because Sareena is like, you know, we kind of agree it's our favorite, one of our favorite characters, most requested characters. Like personally, she's my favorite character. She's my most requested character. Please, like, God, bring her back, man. But she has so much potential, both lore-wise and mechanically. I think she would be a great, what's it called? A bar character, in the way that bar character, meaning like a unique
like a different transformation, right?
Like, exactly, just like Johnny Cage does. And now that Johnny Cage and Kenshi exist, and Tim brought this up, the fact that Johnny Cage and exist opened so many doors. Now they have unique character traits, and you have a puppet character, and you have a metered character like Johnny Cage does. Mm-hmm. It opens up so many doors. And Sareena, I thought would be really cool if you filled up a gauge and then it unlocked her demon form, you know, or that another friend of mine, Original Shinobi, who has also been on the show, he pointed out that she would be able to go in and out of her demon form as like almost like I wouldn't say a stance, but in the same way that Kenshi kind of does with his puppet, except there wouldn't be a puppet. So you put in a command, she would go to demon form and it'd have different specials, and then go back to human form, and that would have different specials.
I'm trying to think of a character that has a transformation, but you don't really have to like, you don't have to like power it up or fill up a meter. You can just kind of do it like maybe freely or filling maybe some other certain requirement. I'm not one coming to mind now, but yeah, it would be sick if she had like, I mean, I really think that we've never had a character like that in Mortal Kombat. And like you said, we're getting these.
You know, it just reminded me of is actually what would be, this would be dope, because in her original lore, now take note, always take note that this is a new era. She could not be a demon of the nether realm that is, you know, trying to redeem herself. Same thing with Ashrah. In fact, I said that in my reaction video. I was like, dude, if Ashrah is a keeper of time, that would be so dope, because it was called the Keeper of Time trailer. And so I thought they were going to show Geras and Ashrah. Geras was obvious because he was off right there on the thumbnail. But yeah, that I was like, dude, if Ashrah is a Keeper of Time, that would be so dope. But
that would be sick.
Yeah, it'd be a whole. So we're in a whole new era. But
that would also really match with the light element she has as well.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. So Sareena, with her old lore, she had there was one part of her story where she couldn't control her demon form. She went into transformed, and I guess it scared Kuai Liang off or something like that. I forgot exactly what part of the story was, and it's one of those like under the wraps stories that's like a part of Mortal Kombat lore, but it's like not a lot of people like focus on it. But comment down below if you know exactly how it was and let me know. But what happened was, you know, she lost control. So have you played Guilty Gear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Course, yeah.
I was thinking of gosh, I could never pronounce his name. Nagoriyuki, thank you. The samurai with his blood meter. So she would fit, you know, every time she used a special, it would fill up the meter. And if she went to the meter, it would unleash her demon form, and it would give her, you know, plus frames, more speed, and more range, but at the detriment of half her health. Because that's how his blood meter works. Is like if you go over your blood meter, then he goes into blood rage, and he at the cost of half of his health, he gains I think the only thing he gains is actual like distance with his attacks, and I think his attacks are plus frames. I could be wrong, but if I recall correctly,
that would be cool. I mean, because I really like that character. The only thing is, it's like
these are all hypotheticals, and they probably will not happen.
Yeah. But I had a hard time playing with that, just because it's like, you know, you can't control when you go into it, or at least I couldn't. And like I would always just wind up getting knocked out because of it. I mean, I guess if Sareena herself is just much easier to play as normally, maybe that would be a better sacrifice or something like that.
Right.
But that's an idea, though. I guess also, oh no, never mind. I was gonna say she could be like Phoenix from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where she could die and then get revived. But it's like, we kind of already had that with Jason, and also it's like MVC3 is also a 3v3 game, and this is just 1v1. So
yeah, and the health, you know, goes down like a lot faster with that.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's right. Her health she was like a
wet
paper bag.
MVC3 is just like, if I touch you, you're dead. Like that's so. Yeah,
it's like you get hit with one move, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. I'll be right back.
Yeah, especially if you play Doom Morgan. But yeah, I understand how that goes. But yeah, we've been talking about this. You know, what's funny was I had these like talking points too. We didn't even touch on any of them. But thus far, and by the way, I didn't even answer this, was that you asked about the stress test. Well, I did play the stress test, but I had to play it with a friend, Original Shinobi, who I had to go to his house because he has it on PS5 and I was on PC. So fortunately, I'm gonna get to play the beta because I'm getting a PS5. So I actually get to play the beta, which is really cool. And I'll make sure to mention this later. By the way, anyone in the comment section, and I'll link it down below, I am having a giveaway on August 16th. So if you want to have a chance to win a free copy of Mortal Kombat 1, I am 100% doing a giveaway. But I'll link you the video. It's really easy to do. And anyway, but thus far, from everything that you have seen, what do you think about the game? With the cameos, with everything, like how do you feel about it so far?
So overall, I am liking the game. I've been like kind of on and off with hype. Right now, I am still very hyped. I think the cameo system is something I'm very divided on. I think it looks fun, and I like how much they can do. They're not just an assist where they just come out and do one move. They have multiple moves. I think it's awesome they have a fatality and they have, they're kind of involved in the fatal blow. I think my main thing is that I have a couple main issues with it. One of them is I do feel like because the whole game is built around it, it's taking away from some other aspects of the game, like well, for instance, and this is a very hypothetical, the playable roster could have maybe been bigger if we didn't have cameos. I also noticed that it doesn't seem like we're getting any like costume packs in the combat pack, and that's probably because instead of doing costumes, they're doing the cameos they're adding as well. And it also is just kind of a pain. Like I understand this, but it's just kind of frustrating. Like I do sort of wish there was a way to do regular 1v1, or better yet, because I really want tag combat to come back. And it just kind of feels like it's like I know they said they wanted to do tag, but then they looked at the numbers and all that, and it's just like,
yeah,
I at the very least wish we could at least get tag back. It kind of just seems like cameos is an excuse to like not give us tag back.
I don't think it's necessarily an excuse. I just think they're trying to do something different because Mortal Kombat. So two things there. According to Ed Boon, tag was not played very much in Mortal Kombat 9. Now, the funny thing about that is if you go on YouTube, you can look up a ton of different videos of people playing tag, and it looks super fun. My argument is that was 12 years ago. Things have changed dramatically. And have you been following Project L?
Not too much, no. Is that a tag game?
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah.
Oh,
it's going. Well, it's a 2v2 fighter sim, except it's a tag fighter. Kind of like Marvel, MVCI, and it's the League of Legends IP fighter. It's gonna probably come out in like 2020. It's probably gonna come out 2024. Seeing that they're trying to, they already have a playable demo. They're gonna have a playable demo at Evo. But I'm looking forward to that game a lot because I'm a League of Legends fan and, a fighting game fan. So I think it's going to do really well. But the last trailer they introduced was all about 2v2 play, where you and a friend can play against a friend and a friend. Like, two people can control their own characters in the game. So you can tag your friends in and out, just like you could in Mortal Kombat 9.
And here's my question. Maybe you would know this. When they say that they looked at the numbers and they said people weren't playing tag, was that just talking about playing online, or is that both online and like local or on the console?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's probably going to be online because that's probably the only way they'd be able to get those numbers. And
like my thing with that is like I just wish, because I have so many good memories with MK9, both 1v1, but also a lot with 2v2. Because we had a video game club at my college, and I think there's always a lot of people playing, and like some people were like really good, and like other people less so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just a great way first of all, it was a good way just for more people to play together, so we didn't have to kind of pass off the controllers and stuff. But it was also a good way just for people that maybe aren't as good to kind of at least have a chance of kind of winning, or at least if you do lose, at least you're not just losing by yourself.
Right.
And even then, like not even just there, like when my friends came over, we had a blast playing 2v2. And like, some of my friends, they're not as, I mean, I'm not like a hardcore competitive person, but I know more what I'm doing than probably some of my friends. No offense to any of them if you're watching this. So I think they were encouraged to play more as well, because at
Right.
least, we're all playing together, we're winning together, losing together. And it's unfortunately just, I think, a problem with modern gaming these days is just online, everything is always prioritized, which I understand, but once again, it is very frustrating.
It's
And I kind of wish NetherRealm Studios would realize that, like, people just playing locally would have a blast if you're brought back tag.
it is the era that we live in, and I think we're getting away from incomplete games going out. I mean, a lot of times you see it, like it's usually the AAA titles that are coming out that are incomplete. And Mortal Kombat, I don't think has been one of those games so far. They've actually like put out a pretty good, pretty complete port of every game so far.
Absolutely.
Balancing, that's a whole nother that's a whole nother thing, I will never let them forget about the Shiva incident. Not that they're listening to me, but I would never let them forget about, hey, if you're going to put out a character like Shiva, who has the Sky Slam, whatever it's called, and it took pretty much like a girl on stream to start crying for them. I don't know if you remember that, but
No,
it was this streamer. She was playing Mortal Kombat 11, and she was playing online, and the person she was playing against went a Shiva and literally just spammed that move. And she started crying because she's like, I just want to play, and like this is not even fun, and all this person, like Shiva's just like just kept going up and down and up and down, and you're just like, and I was like, dude, you totally feel for her. But then finally after that, that probably might not be the reason why, but a lot of people saw that stream, and then NRS was finally like, okay, we need to do something about Shiva, but it took them a year to do it. So hopefully this time around, and it seems like according to Ed Boon, every time that they release a game, they they support the game longer and longer and longer. And I suspect this time around, and I hope they do, I hope they support it just as long as Street Fighter and Tekken have supported their respective games, because Capcom has supported Street Fighter 5 like literally from 2000. What year did 5 come out? 2016, 2016 up until
very early 2016.
Yeah, February of 2016 till 2023. And Tekken was 2015, I believe. Tekken 7.
Actually, I think in consoles, Tekken 7 was, I think, I was talking to a friend about this the other day. I think he said 2016.
Yeah, so both of those came out 2016. Yeah. Exactly. And it's like those games have been supported for that long and everything. And like I am totally fine with comparing Tekken, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat to one another now. I used to like not want to compare those two, but honestly, like I have no problem doing that now, because it's like, Tekken and Street Fighter are giving Mortal Kombat a run for their money and everything. It's like, not that I think they're all like kind of like, I guess, frenemies, like we're competing against each other, but we have nothing like against each other, considering Ed Boon and Harada are actually like friends, but
oh really?
I mean, I don't know how close they are, but it's like every time they meet one another, they always like take pictures with one another. And Harada is actually and Harada did tweet one time that like, he said something like, there was one time when Mortal Kombat was a 3D fighter, and he goes, I would love to see Mortal Kombat be a 3D fighter again. And yeah, so, but I think they should
probably just like, I don't know about that, Harada,
but yeah, and yeah, so I would like to see that happen, but yeah, so far the game is, to me, I really like the cameo fighter system. Um, oh, by the way, to finish off about the Project L thing, because with the Project L was like the trailer was that, and it got a huge like, or not huge, but like a lot of positive feedback, because everyone was like, yes, I can play 2v2 with my friends. So you're kind of right with that, and I hope that they do something like that. Street Fighter 6 has done this thing where you can do like 3v3, but it's like one-on-ones. They're still one-on-ones, but it's like, you know, like kind of,
Oh, it's like team battle basically.
essentially,
That's
yeah.
like a thing a lot of older fighting games. That's cool.
Yeah, so they're
Actually, I
at least
forgot
doing
about
something
that.
like that. So I hope that with a lot of those game modes that they actually like do that. But
And
yeah,
I would like to say, and maybe I'm wrong. I would like to say maybe tag would be easier to add later down the line than
mhm,
1v1 because it's still like it's still two characters fighting against each other. It just you'll actually be playing as
mhm.
one of their characters, and I imagine there just wouldn't be a cameo character select if you did tag mode. And I guess for the throws, what they would just have to do is they would just have to kind of like the front throw. They would just kind of have to change the. They maybe have to mirror the animation so they knock the character forward as opposed to backward.
Or if there are characters like Scorpion or Kung Lao who are cameos and main roster, you know,
That too,
you
yeah.
could you could very much do like a 2v2 tag. This is probably never going to happen, by the way, but I mean, I could see him doing that, but you have to do so much animation, so much different, so much different stuff for that. But yeah, I mean, I would love for him to do something like that and come back. The other thing I've been thinking about this a lot too, is that I would really like to see dev support of competitive play for the competitive side of things. Because in MK11, I didn't see MKX, I saw some dev support, but so far it's like I haven't seen a lot of NRS support of Mortal Kombat 11 as far as like the competitive scene goes.
Hmm. I would like to say they just because esports keep growing and all that, and the competitive
Because Tekken
scenes,
and Street
they would.
Fighter, I'm sorry, Bandai Namco and Capcom are major supporting it, like
Well, I
big.
feel like one thing that I always notice with Mortal Kombat games is they always sell very well, but then
Mm-hmm.
like the player base just kind of falls off more than like games like Tekken and Street Fighter. So I feel like that. I feel like they want to have the games kind of be healthy for a long amount of time. They should consider doing that. And I was also going to say in regards to how you mentioned that you think the game will be supported longer. I would like to say that is true. That would be true, especially considering like MK11. I mean, it came out during well, it came out before, but then the DLC when the DLC started, we hit 2020. We know what happened there. That messed up a lot of things. And also, then there was the whole WB merger, so that probably messed up some things as well.
I think a lot of
So
people forget about the WB merger too, because a lot, yeah. Let's see, how do I put this? During the WB merger, I think NRS was probably like, I wonder what's going to happen next, and they were probably waiting around for like to find out what exactly is going to happen.
yeah,
The rumor was they were working on Injustice 3, and then they got this new game engine, and they were like, you know what? It's going to be 6 years before another Mortal Kombat game. Let's just do another Mortal Kombat game.
I can
That,
see that.
yeah.
And I know a lot of people have pointed out like some kind of hints of injustice in the game, like how the intros now kind of look like the clashes from Injustice 2, for instance. And
The art
I guess
style, too. I see a little bit in the art style.
I could see that, yeah. And also the character select screen is way more like an Injustice 2 than like because I think all the no, Injustice 1 was vertical, but even still it looks just like Injustice 2's character select screen.
Yeah, a little bit. That was the one thing I really liked, was the main menu and the select screen, the towers, and all that stuff. All the different aesthetics of it. To me personally, it felt like an MMORPG. With the music was very like peaceful and kind of like uplifting. There's like nature and just the aesthetics too. Like everything is bright and colorful,
Yeah,
and
the aesthetics for the game are great. That is something
mhm,
I was going to say I really like about the game. Very very beautiful stages. I do like the art
mhm.
style. Designs are like some, I like certain aspects of some, dislike certain, and then some designs I'm less keen on.
Are you talking about like the character designs and costumes, or
Character designs and
okay.
costumes, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. You know what's funny, it was at first I did not like Katana's character design, or not character design, her costume, and the more I looked at it, I'm like, no, this is actually a pretty sick costume. I really like it. I've seen a little bit of people complain about Mileena's costume, and the only thing I've heard complaining is that they're saying that she's over designed. And that's really the only thing I've heard. Same thing in Johnny Cage, it's the opposite. They're saying Johnny Cage is like under designed.
Yeah, Mileena and Katana, I don't love their design. I really like Katana's mask, and I really like her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else,
I'm just glad that they put her hair down. This is the first time her hair's up, you know?
Same.
Yeah. Or it was down in Mortal Kombat 9, but it looked like someone put like a bar in the back of her head and the hair went like,
it was weird,
yeah.
And like Mileena, I think like the hair there took some time to grow on me. Because I like her more with her like hair down and all. I mean, I generally just prefer hair down. So that's fine. And like her mask, like it's cool, but I think I kind of just like the more cloth masks more. Like I love Katana's mask. I love Rain's masks. Everyone else, the ninja mask, I'm like, not my favorite.
A lot of people really liked the fact that the mask went all the way down their neck and like attached, you know, right here. And I really like that too. I thought that was a really good design choice. I've heard some people say it's because of the cosplayers that they made them like actual masks. I don't buy that. When the game actually does come out, we'll see, because I think it might change. Who knows? Because the CGI, even in the CGI, the mask goes all the way down. You know, but
cool, yeah.
But when Mileena actually, they already showed, because when Mileena takes off her mask, it like opens up. I don't know if you saw that, like when with her character intro, when she like walks forward and like she opens up her mouth, you know, she looks like a Reaper from Blade 2.
Yeah, I was
but if you watch it, she like takes it off and it like opened, like the mask itself kind of like unfolds a little bit. So like when she puts it on, it closes up.
I have seen that. I just couldn't remember how the mask came off. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how that works and everything. I would really hope that they do bring back the veil from like Deception.
Yeah. The Deception outfit isn't. It's one of my favorites, but yeah, I would definitely love if they brought that back, or like at least some
variation of it.
Yeah,
I really hope so too. A lot of people really like the Deception outfit, and if I don't know if it fits this Mileena, I'd have to see, because this Mileena, they make her out to be like kind of unhinged, you know, and like a lot of people like Katana over her, and she's like, you can see her growing jealous of Katana, and I'm sure the Tarkat disease is probably going to make her go insane. I'm suspecting what's going to happen this is just my suspicion, is that she gets the Tarkat disease. The disease starts to grow on her, and eventually she's going to go to Shang Tsung, you know, because of his experiments, and he's going to say like, I can cure her, and it like just stops the disease. And it doesn't keep it from growing, it just stops it in its place. And that's why, because you have to give a reason why Mileena is getting this disease, but only her mouth is affected and nothing else.
That's true, yeah.
Because if you look at the Tarkatans, the Tarkat colony, do you call them Tarkatans anymore, or are they a Tarkat colony?
I still just call them Tarkatans.
Because Baraka actually looks diseased, but if you look at all the other Tarkatan NPCs that they had in the trailer, they're all diseased. They look very diseased.
Yeah, they have like blades coming out of like really random places.
Exactly. Stuff, right? But there were some women too. You can see it, that there was like a bunch of women Tarkatans there, and their hair was gone and everything. So it's like, I think that Shang Tsung is probably going to have to put a stop to the disease, and he like stops it from, you know, in its place and everything, because you can't take away Mileena's design. Like, people aren't just going to do that, you know?
And do you think like when he does that, like Mileena will kind of feel like indebted to him, and she kind of turns to the dark side, or?
I think that this is weird. Because I think because of Mileena's personality, because they're making her out to be naturally like aggressive.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want Tanya to be a traitor this time around. And the only reason I didn't want her to be a traitor is because everybody was like, she's going to be a traitor. She's always a traitor. And I was just like, oh, this is a new era. Hopefully she's not. And that's the only reason why. But the more and more I think about it, she probably, I think Tanya is going to be a traitor to the throne, but be loyal to Mileena. And what I think is going to happen is Reiko and Shao Kahn, General Shao and Shang Tsung, who are allied with one another. That's all we know, though, is that they are allied with one another. That I think Mileena is going to want to stop the disease from spreading. And Tanya is going to convince her to go to Shang Tsung. And then she's going to form an alliance with Reiko and General Shao. And that's going to cause Katana to be like against what she naturally wants, to have to ally herself with Countess Jade to form a mutiny against Mileena and and General Shao and Reiko. You can tell I've thought about this a lot.
No.
So that's what I think is going to happen. Is Tanya is going to, like I said, I think that there's going to be some sort of alliance between Mileena and Reiko and General Shao, and all to be manipulated by Shang Tsung. And
I was gonna say, I could see like, and I've heard people bring this up before, like, Tanya might not be like, she might not go full evil, like full traitor, but it may be revealed that the whole thing with like Li Mei kind of accidentally getting King Gerard killed was maybe like Tanya's fault, because Tanya,
I can see that,
move up her status or something like that. But she's not like outside of that. She's not evil. Obviously, that's a pretty messed up thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I could maybe just see that. But if they are kind of making her at least less evil, or something.
I think they're going to make Tanya a lot more complex than she has before. In the past, it's just Tanya just did whatever was best for Tanya. That's all there was to it. It's like Tanya was going to betray Rain, betray Mileena, betray the Edenian family, like she has done in the past. And it was there wasn't a lot of nuance here. I think this time around it's going to be more so like Tanya is going to not betray, but she's going to convince Mileena to form her alliances with General Shao and Reiko and the reason why she's going to do this is because she thinks that's what's best for Mileena, because she loves Mileena. I think it's going to be a lot more nuanced than it has been in the past. So we'll see. We'll see. I think the writers so far, like, I think Dominic Chinchilla is kind of like let loose on this, and he's kind of like, just kind of letting his creativity flow and everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm not sure exactly like how it works out as far as the writing goes, but I can kind of see it being something like, the writers are just like, just going all sorts of crazy and just letting it go, like letting all this creativity flow, like totally unlike they've been able to do in the past. Yeah,
I think it does. That is one cool thing about this new era, is it kind of does give, I think, a little bit more freedom to change. I guess I don't want to say change things too much, but yeah, I think
same but different.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it would maybe, I guess depending on who you spoke to, it would maybe upset people a bit less, because the expectation is set that things are going to be more different. Obviously, there's still going to be things that like they're going to change, and we're still maybe not going to be super crazy about. Like, I'm a huge Rain fan, and like I am still kind of trying to warm up to the idea of him possibly having a very different move set. And maybe not being a demigod anymore, but like I'm trying. I'm just trying to be like open minded. Like, let's just see where this goes.
See, I really liked Rain's change. I thought it was dope, but that's just me. Like, I was totally cool with the Water Wizard.
His design is awesome. The design's fantastic. I think it's just like It's mainly, I think, just, and I can live with him maybe not being a demigod. It's just, I think I'm just gonna maybe miss the classic moveset. If you know, assuming he doesn't have much of that, because we still barely seen any of him in action. But that's just what I'm
He's a
assuming.
very mid-ranged zoner, like his, and I really like that they have like a zoner archetype, and that he's the first zoner archetype I've seen so far.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't really think we've seen any other
Yeah,
zoners.
I can see. I'm very interested to see how Omni-Man and Homelander play, because have you watched Invincible or The Boys?
Yes, yeah, I'm all caught up with at least the shows.
Okay, so which is my next video, by the way, because I have been watching the shows as to study up for my next video, and Homelander is going to be very, very interesting because he has literally done nothing but laser people, and he flies.
Yeah, and like,
He does. There no fighting. I haven't seen him hit anyone. I've seen him smash people's heads. That's it. You know, I've seen Omni-Man fight.
oh yeah, yeah.
You see Omni-Man fight a lot, but you don't see Homelander fight at all. So I was thinking about this a lot too, was that in Justice 2, we had Supergirl and Superman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Two characters, same exact superpowers, but they played very different. You know, so
yeah,
I can that's the way I'm kind of looking at it. With I think Homelander might be a zoner. That's the reason I brought them up, because I think they might make Homelander a zoner.
I feel like he has to be, especially to differentiate him more from Omni-Man. Because I think that's like, because yeah, I love Invincible and The Boys, and Omni-Man and Homelander are cool. Well, Homelander, I say cool with like an asterisk, but
he has a cool design. I really like I really like his costume. I think that's a dope costume.
He's entertaining. I'll put it that way. But and like, I understand why they're guest characters, but I think my main kind of complaint with them is just that like they're both thematically similar, like you know, like they're both like evil Supermen, but with less powers than Superman, and they're both in the same combat pack. And we've seen Superman characters in Injustice before, which is relatively similar. We've seen them in NetherRealm Studios games before. Like, I know Injustice and Mortal Kombat don't play exactly the same. And it's like, and then it's like, I like Peacemaker and I love his show, but it's like he's just kind of another like mainly like gun guy. If you catch my drift. I know he can do other things. And that was kind of my one disappointment with the guest characters. But I am looking forward to how they play. And I feel like, yeah, like you said, Homelander he's got to be more of a zoner, and Omni-Man is probably going to be more of a baller. I would actually kind of like if because General Zod in Injustice 1, he was kind of more of a violent Superman. I would actually like if they played like General Zod, because I actually really like how General Zod played in the first Injustice game.
Yeah. Zod was actually like high tier too. He was actually like, you know, really fun to play. But so was Superman. That's the thing.
Superman, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Superman and General Zod were both like really high tier characters. But yeah, I didn't even think about that, because Zod technically also had the exact same superpowers. You know,
he did a couple different things. Like I think he used a ray gun or something at one point, and he did some. I remember his trait is he summoned like a Phantom Zone like demon or something. They would kind of like latch on to the opponent. Obviously, I don't think either of them can do that.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how they all play, and I can see Peacemaker kind of be that. I can kind of see him. I can kind of see him playing like Cassie Cage. To be honest, it's like he has the gun, but it's not prevalent in his moveset. But I could be wrong. He could completely be he could completely play like Deathstroke, or not Deathstroke. I'm sorry, Deadshot in Injustice 2.
I was also going to say, with you saying he'd play like Cassie Cage, I imagine Eagly, his pet eagle, being like the drone,
yeah,
that Cassie Cage had, and yeah.
Eagly. What's your pet eagle's name? Eagle. Dude, that's the cool thing, is I really like the Peacemaker show. I thought it was really cool, and John Cena. Great, yeah. John Cena was such a good Peacemaker too. So it was a good show, man. I really like that show.
Yeah, it came out during a time I wasn't like doing the best, and it definitely lifted my spirits. So like
Yeah.
it is cool to see him in the game. And I'm honestly kind of contradicting myself because my most wanted guest character is Doomslayer, and he uses a bunch of guns, but like he uses all these futuristic guns. He has like arm blades, flamethrowers, and stuff. So that's why I give him the
Yeah,
credit.
and he also does the really violent murders too. Like when he
Like
if you get
it
close
must be
enough to
so
it, he
easy
literally
clearing
grabs a
brutalities
demon
for him.
and does crazy things, So
Yeah.
I think Doomslayer, I think he's rumored to be in Combat Pack 2. If that is true, it's like finally, because Doomslayer has been rumored since Mortal Kombat X. Dude, he's like he literally has been rumored since 2015.
Yeah, he's been because like him and like Spawn have always been like my most wanted guest characters, and I just feel
Mhm.
like they were always like just the what's the term, like the
Dangling with a
carrot on the
carrot.
string with them. Yeah, dangling the carrot. Yeah, it's like oh, it's like just give it to me.
Yeah, I've never been. Gosh, I would hear about like, oh, this character would be cool and this guest character would be cool, but I'm not anti guest character like a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, why can't those spots be saved to like other Mortal Kombat characters? And I get that.
I've noticed the Mortal Kombat community is very anti-guest. I've
They
noticed
are,
that, yeah.
but that's the thing, the Mortal Kombat community, and that raises another good point, which is that the Mortal Kombat FGC consists of like a very small portion of the consumer base. It's like
Yeah.
the consumer base is usually casual players. And that's why I think that I don't know if they're necessarily looking at cameo fighters as like a way to be like, okay, we're going to bring in these characters, but we're going to bring in cameo fighters with their old appearances to appease, the hardcore MK fans. And this is just, me, and you would see it a lot, especially in the chat when I had Shad and Razor on from the Nethercast, is I was very much like, I'm a big proponent of new. I like new things. I like to see when they did cameo fighters, I was like, yes, we're doing an assist-based fighter. This is awesome. Like I could not wait for that. And then, yeah, it was great to see Sector and Cyrax with their old looks and everything. And then again, when I heard about the new era, I was like, yes, this is great. We're doing into a new era. And I like that because it sets a precedent for the future. It sets a new base for new players. And there's one person I want to ask to come on in the future, because it's great to see new players, because for a lot, this is going to be a lot of people's first Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah.
This is the third timeline that we have seen in Mortal Kombat history, and oddly enough, this is the first Mortal Kombat for a lot of players. So
Yeah, and Ed Boon said it's a good one to start with. So
it is. I think it's a great one to start with. I will admit it is difficult. Yeah, I will admit that from the stress test, it in comparison to previous Mortal Kombats, it's a pretty difficult game.
It's more like advanced.
I would say so.
Okay.
So I don't know how you like. You didn't get to play it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've heard. Here's the main things I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
People love that you can do way longer combos, but they just don't like the speed of the game. That's kind of that's the main critique I hear. Like everybody say, or at least like they don't like the dash speed.
Yeah, and Maximilian Dude did a really good video on dash speed, because in Mortal Kombat X, everybody looks at Mortal Kombat X as like the super fast game, and Mortal Kombat 9 is like the gold standard. There's nothing more perfect than Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah.
He had a really good point, which is that Mortal Kombat 9 is actually faster than Mortal Kombat X. And it was because of dash block. You can dash block, and it was you were moving super fast. Mortal Kombat X just had run, which is, fair. But the combos were a lot faster than Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat 11 was just a slow game in general. What I found in the stress test was that I felt like the dash speed and the combo speed did not mesh together very well, because you felt like Mortal Kombat 11 dash speed with Mortal Kombat 9 combo speed. So once you're comboing, you were moving fast. But when you're in the...
That's why I was so confused when I heard people say that it's slower than Mortal Kombat 11. I'm like, what?
No,
what? But then it's like,
I wouldn't say that at all.
Maximilian Dude, when I saw Maximilian do talk more about it, I'm like, oh, okay. I think I understand what's going on here. There's certain things that are slower, but then there's certain things that are faster.
No,
Okay.
I would never say it was slow. It was slower than Mortal Kombat 11 because
Okay.
once you did start comboing, it moved really fluid. It was really good at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat 11 had some of the slowest combos you can think of, and which is, I like the idea of flawless block, but for instance, like Scarlet's 2-1-2 combo where with the whip where she goes like really fast, and you can do it twice in a row, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to flawless block that because of how slow Mortal Kombat 11 is. Same thing if you can read Garrus's 50-50. So Garrus does the 50-50 where it's either a low command grab or it's an overhead, right? And you have to guess which one it is. If it is a low, not really much you can do about that. If it is a overhead, you can flawless block that so easy. So I like the idea of flawless block a lot, actually, because it just reminds me of perfect parry and Street Fighter 6. Yeah, and I really like that mechanic. However, yeah, it has to be like, I'm trying to think of a better way to phrase this. I like the idea of flawless block and perfect parry, but in Mortal Kombat 11, I thought flawless block was just too easy to do, especially at the very beginning. When they did the patch and they sped the game up a little bit, it got a little bit harder, and therefore is like a little bit more rewarding. But as far as like Mortal Kombat 1 goes, I'm pretty sure they brought back flawless block, but it feels a lot more. It's definitely harder to use. And you can tell with the speed of the combos, and when you actually do it, and I do like also the overhead, the jump block that they're doing. So
yeah, what is that exactly? Jump block?
You hold
like,
up block.
Block.
You just hold up block, and so there's block, and then there's up block, and you can actually block a jump in, and you can punish, and it makes you plus, and you can punish them for it.
No, I don't think any other fighting game has done that. Have they?
No, not that I know of.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. You can perfect parry Street Fighter 6 jump ins, but yeah, they're you can tell that NRS, and this is kind of what makes me a lot more hopeful for this game, is that you can see that they saw all the problems that were in Mortal Kombat 11 but took some of the good. So like flawless block was really good, but in Mortal Kombat 11, jump kicks were extremely overpowered and way overused. Also, down one was extremely overpowered, like not overpowered. It was just overused. The crouch pokes. Crouch punch. Kano's crouch punch sucked. Everybody knows this, and so they made it to where you were negative with crouch punch. So it's like you use it one time, and if you used it again, you were negative, and so that you can be punished for it. So it's like you use it one time and block. That's all you got. So they took care of that, and they took care of like jump ins too, because people are abusing jump ins with Mortal Kombat 11. You can tell they looked at all that, but they also, I'm okay with fatal blows being back. That's fine. I was not a huge fan of it in Mortal Kombat 11. For one, I don't like comeback mechanics. Two, the fatal.
I like fatal blows. Mm-hmm. I just think they need to tone them down. Like, have them be.
It shouldn't be 30%. There's no way it should be 30%.
Yeah, have them be harder to hit with, and maybe like 15. Speed them up a little bit, like because they take so long.
Yeah, that was literally what I was about to say. Was the cinematics were just way too long.
Like they were so cool the first few times, and it's like okay.
Yeah, like if someone fatal blows me, or if I fatal blow them, and I can take a drink of coffee and come back before to go back, it's taking too long. And that was one thing that people complained about a lot, was the fatalities. They thought that the fatalities were way overdone. Even my wife used to play Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 with her brothers growing up, and I showed her one of my reaction videos because she wanted to see it, and she was just like, oh my gosh. And she showed it wasn't even a fatality. She thought it was a fatality, was Scorpion's fatal blow, and she thought that was a fatality. And she's just like, dude, that's like way overdone. Like, I don't want to see that. You know, but I guess Ed Boon in an interview actually did say that most people like laugh about it, you know. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see some of them. Like, I do like, I know, because a lot of people, it's funny seeing people's reactions to fatalities. A lot of people are like, oh, and I'm just like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's, you know, like,
yeah.
And like, I was always one of those that usually laughed. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. Oh, I can't believe he did that. But yeah, and it seems like some fatalities in MK1 are sped up. And then there are some that do kind of go long, I noticed. Like, I know Katana's, that one Katana fatality was like super fast, where she just shreds you all up with her fans. But then the Kenshi one was a bit longer. And the Lee Mei one's a bit longer too, but I love that Lee Mei one.
Yeah, I really like the Lee Mei. Everyone likes the Liu Kang one that they just showed with the...
I actually like that one too, I'll admit.
That was very interesting. Dude, I thought that was so interesting that they brought back that, or didn't even bring back. That was like, he can summon a black hole. Like, I thought that was super dope. I was like, that's cool.
It's funny because I would expect the main villain of the game to have that kind of fatality.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I really liked it a lot. And but yeah, fatalities, with the way fatalities are now, it's like, it's kind of cool the first time, and that's just the way I look at it. But I was one of those people who looked at fatalities like, you know, kind of thing. It was in the past, like in Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, it was funny. That's how I looked at it. You know, it's like, if Katana did the kiss, you know, what Katana did, the kiss of death. You know, you blow up and you explode, right? Or was it Sonya? I know Sonya did the blow kiss. She blew a kiss, and you would...
I thought Katana like stole that from her or something like that. Maybe like it was Sonya's, and then
Sonya's, she blew a kiss, and then in Mortal Kombat 1, you just burned up. In Mortal Kombat 3, I think it changed up a bit. In Mortal Kombat 2, Katana just kissed you on the cheek and you blew up and exploded. You know?
Yeah.
So that's
it's weird. When I was a kid, I don't know what the hell I thought of them. I think I was like intrigued, but also kind of scared a little bit. I guess it depended on what the fatality was. Like, some obviously, like some I couldn't be scared at, like Jax turning giant or anything like that. Obviously, like then the, you know, the Cabal one, or the face, that was like, when I first saw that, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. He looks like Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember, like, that was just funny to me back then, because it was just the graphics weren't nearly as good as they are now. Yeah, now they're just like these 15-second, you know, how, like, torture porn, like, is essentially. And yeah, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you watch my reaction videos, I'm like, you know, I don't even, I don't really think much of fatalities anymore. And also, like, I'm more of a gameplay mechanics guy. Like, I like to play, you know, I play competitively, so it's like fatalities.
Yeah. Fatalities just slow things down.
It's just like, I remember even in Mortal Kombat X, one of the guys I played with the most, I even told him too. I was like, hey, when I was like, dude, if you win, just crouch punch me and knock me over. Like, you know, let's just get to the next one. You know,
typically what I do when I'm playing by myself or playing with friends, I'll kind of cycle what finisher I do. Like, all right, I'll start off, I'll do the first fatality. Next match, I'll do the second fatality. Third match, I'll do whatever, like, if it's friendship, babality, whatever. Then, like, I'll maybe try to do some brutalities, and yeah, it helps, I think, vary things up a little bit.
Right.
But, you know, yeah, even still, like, you know, as cool as I think they are, and as, you know, as iconic they are for Mortal Kombat, you know, I admit they can be a little, like, you know, like, all right, let's move on.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like, like, I've seen it before. Like, I've seen this before. Let's just move on. Let's just go. You know, because you, like I said, you want to speed things up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, personally, I just think they've gotten so over the top. But again, it's kind of like what Ed Boon was saying, is that most people think they're funny. Most people just get kind of a laugh out of them. and everything because of how egregious and how over the top they are. And kind of like what we said before with the Mortal Kombat FGC, it's like that is a very small minute of the consumer base. You know, the main consumer, the other, with Mortal Kombat 11, they sold 15 million. I'm projecting, I have no evidence to support these numbers whatsoever, but I expect 20 million copies to be sold. Like, it would not surprise me if 20 million copies sold. So that's
pretty good for a fighting game, right?
Very good for a fighting game. I think, Tekken, it got there. And that is the thing that you mentioned earlier too. Mortal Kombat is one of those games where the consumer buys it. Okay. Like the casual players buy it. And then it kind of drops off after 3 months a little bit and left for the Mortal Kombat fans to keep playing it, right? Well, with Street Fighter and Tekken, it's a little bit different. It's like, 1 million, 2 million at first, but then it grows over time. And I think a lot of that has to do with, its competitiveness. It's because it's a major competitive game. Capcom Cup, they're doing $2 million prize pool with a $1 million, grand prize. I don't know if Tekken, what they're going to be doing with Tekken 8, but with Tekken 7, it's like they got some pretty big prize pools, when they do it. And who is it? Capcom, I think Street Fighter 6 is doing they have more in their prize pool at Evo than all the other games. I think they have a $75,000 prize, in prize money, and that's bigger than all the other games. And that's also because of 6,000 people, or how many? It's like 6 or 7. It might be 5 to 7,000. I'm not sure. Comment down below. But it's like 5 to 7,000 entries, which is more than any other in a single game. In one single game is outdoing previous Evos. That's craziness.
I definitely think something that probably is a big factor and maybe why Mortal Kombat doesn't get that kind of support is I think Warner Brothers just has a different mindset than Capcom, Bandai Namco, and all of them. They're more used to the traditional kind of Western game cycle, and I think that's just very I guess foreign to them. So I think they just kind of move, they're just like, all right, the game came out, sold well, let's move on, kind of thing, which is a bit of a shame, honestly.
And it really is. And I can kind of see them doing that with I think after 2 years, I can imagine, I don't know how this goes, but I can imagine WB Games is probably after 2 years of Mortal Kombat just being like, all right, let's start working on Injustice. And they have no desire to keep going. After that point, I would like for them to, because I believe, Mortal Kombat, I believe it's not illegal to own, but you cannot sell it in Japan. You can own it, but you have to port it. And then I don't know if it's still illegal to sell in Australia, but in the West, Mortal Kombat sells more than all the other fighting games. And it 100%. Yeah, you're right. In mostly America, but also in Europe as well. Because I know Mortal Kombat is, it's big in the UK, it's big in Russia, and MKX, they had European ESL, they had American, the US ESL, the Esports League. I would love for him to see them, do more with that, and I would expect the game to have a longer life cycle if they actually did, and that's kind of where I'm just like, dude, I think Sonic Fox needs to say something about that. I would really like for bigger names, not just Sonic. I would really like to see bigger names do it, because there was a minute there where I think it was Rewind and Ninja Killa were saying that we want bigger prize pools in Mortal Kombat, and it was kind of it was a big deal, and a lot of people
should have the money to be able to fund that too. So it's
especially some of those top tier players, and a lot of them are making money off of the smaller tournaments, because there's the Coliseum by Mr. Aquaman, MF Slayer does some things, but it's the payoffs aren't near as big as they could be. And I would like for a game as big as Mortal Kombat to be on a grand scale, because I think it really could. So
I would like to say that this will be the game they will try to do that. And, hopefully we don't have any pandemics or any other mergers that'll kind of interfere with that stuff, and they'll be able to build the game up a bit more. I do think it's going to get supported a bit longer. And I was going to say with the guest character thing, and I think that would also kind of help alleviate some of the frustration that people have with guest characters, because I think that's the main thing. It's just they take up so much of the combat packs, the seasons. And I think if they just supported the game longer, sure, that would mean more guest characters, but that would also mean more Mortal Kombat characters. So that means more people are getting the characters they want to see in the game. So if they just supported the game longer, I think, the guest character, if, we'd get more Mortal Kombat characters in the game, and that would maybe kind of chill some people out a little bit.
I think it would just chill out the Mortal Kombat community and wouldn't chill out the rest of the community. So it really all started with Injustice 1. Because in Injustice 1, Scorpion apparently was the most sold DLC character than all the other guest characters, or all the other characters. And that's when they started bringing in guest characters. And guest characters did really well in the Mortal Kombat X, because a lot of the casual fans were like, oh my gosh, I can play as Jason. Oh my gosh, I could play as, Alien.
Yeah, they sell more.
They sell more. And that's exactly it. Because you got to think, like I was saying before, the Mortal Kombat FGC makes up a very, very small, minute of the fandom versus, versus like the casual player. So you got, if it sold 20 million copies, that's 20 million. Let's just throw a number there, 19 million Mortal Kombat fans.
Yeah.
Who are going to be Mortal Kombat fans versus the casual fans. So of course, Omni-Man and Homelander and Peacemaker are probably going to like sell out the ass, dude. They're going to sell so much of those characters. It's going to be insane.
I think also both Omni-Man and Homelander were both very requested, especially Homelander. Homelander seems like the spawn of this combat pack. I feel like Peacemaker was fairly requested as well, maybe not much. And I think that helps too, because it's like, I'm a person that, like, for me, there's a lot of factors. Like, it depends on what the base roster is and who the guests are. This game's base roster is shaping up to be really good, so I can maybe tolerate guest characters. Obviously, Sareena being the base game would help a little bit, but
right.
Like the guest characters, I don't like love any of them, but I don't dislike any of them, and I'm excited to see like how they'll interact and play in the game. But like I am hoping, like my main thing is I would just kind of like guest characters more from like video games, like Doomslayer. Drawing a blank right now, but like. Yeah, like I think just more because we get so many from like movies and comics, and I feel like some of, at least more so the movie characters, I think moveset potential is a little more limited because they're usually a lot more grounded. So I think there's only so much you can kind of do with them. Video game characters, they're given usually a bunch of stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly why we're talking about Homelander's moveset. Like what is Homelander's moveset? He literally just smashes heads and laser eyes people. That's all that's literally all he does.
There's a couple things I'm thinking of, but they're not appropriate to say.
Yeah, and those definitely aren't going to be in a Mortal Kombat game. But yeah, Omni-Man, gosh, dude. Yeah, you see him fight all the time. It's a little different. So, Peacemaker can go a lot of different ways. But I think Peacemaker's probably going to play
if they're just basing it off of the show / Suicide Squad movie, or if they're also taking some stuff from the comic as well.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, I'm totally fine with these guest characters, and to be honest, I'm glad they brought in Quan Chi, Ermac, and Takeda, and I'm really looking forward to that because
I'm super hyped for Takeda.
Dude, Takeda looks so dope. And
it looks awesome.
I'm really excited to see how Takeda plays out because he looks significantly older. His outfit, his costume is like kind of like new, I guess you could say. Like
it's a little bit like gives me some Cyrax vibes a little bit.
Yeah, like futuristic, and he still has the the whips and everything, because you can see on the like the shoulders and stuff how his whip system. So yeah, I'm excited about Takeda, and of course, you know, Quan Chi. I don't know if they're ever gonna, you know, if they're gonna change it. I remember during a stream, I think Ketchup was putting on, and he actually didn't necessarily like answer my question, but Ermac's design has been universally criticized.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. I keep saying this, like, I am a very easy to please person, and I
Same.
usually
I'm
try to say
same.
positive
Same.
things. And I like Ermac. He's not like my favorite ninja. I do like him, and I'm glad he's coming back.
Same.
And I was actually
I don't play
kinda
him, so yeah.
I was kind of okay with the Mortal Kombat X default outfit. At least it wasn't my favorite Ermac outfit, but I did like it. But this, even I'm just like, yeah, this is terrible. Like, it's like the worst ninja design I've ever seen in a Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat game.
I agree with you, and most people do, to be honest. And what Ketchup said was, I don't think they would change it, or like maybe they might add him an ass. But I mean, even so much like when Super is criticizing it, because he seems like a very,
That's his like favorite character, right?
It's his favorite character. And he openly said that this is my favorite character and this design looks garbage, but he, you know, in a very positive kind of way, because Super and Uncaged and Caboose, those guys are they're constructively critical. That's why I like whenever they have criticisms over the game, I pay attention to it a lot more, because they're a lot more constructive with it. And so even Super was just like, you just put a mask and sleeves on him and you're fine. Like, you don't need to completely rehash the entire character, you know?
Yeah, because I could tell like he was happy, but he was also like, you know,
thank you for bringing him back, but he looks like garbage. But thank you, but he looks like garbage. You know, yeah, like you could tell.
Basically how like I try to like
yeah,
because I don't use Twitter much, but like when you know when I like try to respond to the stuff that, like, you know, when they release trailers and all this stuff, I'll always like try to be like hey, this is really cool, I'm glad you're doing this, but do you think you could do this? Or like, hey, I think I did say like, hey, I'm really looking forward to the combat pack, especially Takeda. Do you think Ermac could maybe get a mask or something like that? Like, I said it very like, you know, not critically or anything, just like,
I think that's
maybe do that.
And that's one of the reasons why I asked asked that, and I was actually like pretty surprised that he responded. It was on one of his streams, and he was basically like, it might be too late or something like that. Like, they had already designed the character and everything, but like I said, it's kind of like, I hear all the criticisms about like different characters and stuff, and if I truly don't care, or I'm sorry, if I truly don't play that character, I don't seem to care very much, you know? So if Sareena comes out and her character design looks awful and her costume looks awful,
that's gonna
hurt. Yeah, exactly. But you know, when like Tanya came out, I don't play Tanya. So
with Sareena, that like, it seems like so far, like the 3D era characters that we haven't seen in a long time, like Lee May and Reiko, they're being pretty faithful with. So I would like to say,
more or less,
if they did bring back Sareena,
Reiko, yes. Lee May looks complete. Lee May is an entirely different character now.
I guess
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I actually like her character design.
Lee May probably more moveset wise then, maybe not design, because she has all of her old moves, I think, and then some, which is perfect. Design wise, maybe less, definitely less so. Reiko, yeah, definitely, he is like basically ripped right from like MK Armageddon.
He's literally like a rip, dude. Yeah,
I would like to say, and especially with Sareena, I think, you know, her design is definitely one of the biggest draws she has. I personally think her design is the coolest female design of any of the Mortal Kombat ladies, in my opinion, at least. So I would like to say they would try not to change it too much.
Right.
But, you know,
yeah,
I don't know for sure.
And that, like, her and Ashrah are the two 3D era characters, or female characters that were introduced in the 3D era that have probably like the most iconic designs. Like, you can change up Nitara a bit if you wanted to, you know, But and same thing with Lee May, and they clearly did. But Ashrah and Sareena have very, very unique designs and unique costumes that make them that make them stand out in comparison to the other 3D era characters.
Actually going to say with Lee May, maybe this is just me, but it kind of looks like they kind of took her MKX design and just sort of like spruced it up a little bit. Because I mean, you don't really see her full model, but like the top kind of looks like the MKX, just more like colorful, obviously. And I think the hairstyle was maybe somewhat similar. So it seems like, and in the, I mean, honestly, I wasn't that crazy about it.
Right.
MKX.
But like, for instance,
one though.
Yeah, but for instance, like if they took Sareena's design from MKX, I would be, dude. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If they did that, dude, oh my gosh, it'd be perfect. Perfect. Exactly. So, perfect. Hey guys, you got a perfect template right here. It's right there. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Moving on to the last segment of the podcast, and I asked everybody this, and I want to hear your answer and everything. I probably should have asked you at the beginning, because I always ask people at the beginning, so to give you enough time to answer it, which is make or break. What is one thing that is going to make, and what's something that's going to break? So not like, make or break one thing. It's like, what is something that's going to make you just stay honed into the game for the next 4 years, or what's something that's going to break you on day one that you're just going to be like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Okay. All right. So I think mine might kind of answer each other, but I think what would really make, okay. I mean,
if they're the same, that's totally fine.
I was gonna say, because like I'm more of like I like playing like with other people, like locally with my friends, and I'll occasionally play online. But I am like probably, when it comes down to it, more of like a single player person.
Okay.
I know it's weird these days for fighting games to do that, but I guess I grew up with a game. I grew up in the era of the 2000s when like fighting games, there was like a bunch of stuff to unlock and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Modes and mini games, especially the 3D era games. Oh my god. But I think if they're really, it would, make it. Obviously, there's just a lot of fun stuff to do in the game. I can use all these characters to unlock all these cool things, in different modes and all that. Obviously, this good story mode will help, and like, a conquest mode would be cool. I just want a lot of stuff to do with the main cast characters.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of fun stuff to do, a lot of cool stuff to unlock. That's definitely going to be playing the game for a while. What'll break it is if there's just not much to do, which I would like to say, considering Mortal Kombat's track record, or NetherRealm Studios' track record, I shouldn't have to worry about that too much. However, I still don't have the full evidence that that's going to be the case. We just don't really know much about the modes and all that.
I'm the opposite. I don't think that we have a lot of evidence to support that they're going to do a lot of like single player mode stuff in the NRS era in comparison to how we had in the 3D era. In the 3D era, we had mini games, we had the Crypt, we had we had the Crypt in NRS era, but I just felt like 3D era had way more to do.
I'm not expecting it to be as good as those games. It's just that like a lot of recent fighting games have been very bare bones. So like if they could at least just exceed that, then like I'm good.
Right. So is that your make or break, like both together?
I would say so, yeah. Because I mean, like I said, I would say like if there's no characters I want to play, but that's not going to happen, because there's already characters I want to play. There's already characters that I'm excited for that are probably going to be in the game with or without Sareena. So I don't have to worry about that. So like, yeah, I would just say like, and obviously I have to enjoy the gameplay. I'm again not super. I'm not like incredibly picky with that. As much as like because like I didn't mind playing Mortal Kombat 11. Like I can see some of the faults a lot of people talk about, but
it was just too grindy for the single player stuff. It was just way too grindy.
Oh yeah. See, and that's something else I wanted to say. Like, I will defend Mortal Kombat 11 with that, but I will also say that they maybe tried a little too hard to give us things to do in the game. I would like ideally, I would like a lot of things to do, but it also not be like super grindy. Like if we still have gear, okay, fine. Let me just earn enough coins. Let me buy the mask I want for like rain or smoke or whatever, just on my own time. Not some tower that's only available during this day of the week or some crap like that.
Yeah,
Just let
Tim
me.
said the exact same thing. He's like, why do I have to be on exactly this time, to get this specific tower and everything? It's like, I kind of wish just everything was available, and it was just like, it was like the purple masks were, 500,000 uh, time crystals or whatever the currency was. Just let me buy that or unlock it after. I like the way that they did in MKX. They had the crypt and stuff, but also it's like, you complete a tournament, or it's like if you wanted one of the katana skins was give someone a score of 10 in King of the Hill 20 times or something like that.
Yeah.
you,
Yeah,
you
I
know
also say like I really like I mean I I also don't like that's that for things that you have to be online to unlock them. You have to like win matches. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I understand encouraging people to play online modes. That's cool, but like, first of all, you got to account for like connection and all that. Like if online's down, and also like some people just aren't as good as other people. So it's like you're not going to get like a skin you want for like Mileena just because you're not as good as some other person online like that.
yeah,
That to me is not really fair. And I was also going to say the hilarious thing is like with the whole time crystal thing, like you would think, oh, they make things grindy because they want you to pay real money. But the funny thing is, the two things I wanted most that I never got, it was a mask for Noob Saibot called Dark Automata, and it was a skin for Rain. It was like one of the purple, like kind of hooded outfits he had. And I was never able to get those. And I would literally, if they appeared in the Time Crystal shop,
hmm
I would have bought them, but they never did. So at least when I was on, so it's like
yeah,
I would have given you money, but you didn't let me. So
yeah,
we
and that's
both
complete.
lose.
Yeah, and that's the problem with time stamped, gear pieces. So the one of the things specifically with gear that I pointed out on Twitter was I think it was Realmcast, and they pointed out like Gearus, like, oh, because that was the other thing that started popping up on Twitter is because Gearus had some outfit pieces, so they thought gear was coming back.
All that.
I really hope that is not the case. I don't like the idea of gear. However, I thought it would be cool though if you can buy an outfit, and on that
Hmm.
outfit you can change the different parts. So
Hmm.
the outfit came with with 3 or 5 or whatever interchangeable masks, 3 or 5 interchangeable belts, or something like that. Because I think like on Garrus's back, the scarab or whatever, that icon that is on the middle of his back,
Yeah.
it was different, between two different places.
Did he
But
have like different like he had like hand wraps instead of gauntlets, or is that just he normally has the hand wraps now
I
and
didn't see
he
that
focused on
one.
the gauntlet
I
gameplay?
only saw
Okay, all right.
the scarab on the back. So the point of that all is that I'm like, what if it's the same outfit, but you can interchange different parts of the outfit, while keeping the outfit the same. So I was like, that would be
Cool.
kind of cool. But we'll see as the game comes out.
I think
But
if you just let me customize like masks, hair, and maybe like color tones, like
yeah. And make
that
sure
that,
that the
that that'd be
color
cool.
tones are one outfit with 10 different color tones instead of every individual outfit is a different color tone. Because
Yeah,
let's be real.
yeah,
Some of them had 5, there was literally 5 outfits. In fact, with Katana, there was like 5 or 6 different outfit, non DLC, but 5 different outfits, and two of which looked the same, another 2 looked the same, and one looked completely different. Like it was like she just had 3 different outfits, and but then they had like 10 different color schemes, and they were different outfits. Like I didn't like that. One outfit, and then let
yeah,
me choose the color scheme for the different outfit. Like that would be fine. You know.
yeah.
Um.
I'm fine if gear comes back. I think I just gotta tone it down a little bit. Take it easy.
Yeah. Exactly. Just don't make it a grind fest. My make or break has actually changed. Because it used to be like my break is still the same, but my make is actually changed to the more I think about it, is ranked. I like I said, I play I really like to play competitively. I liked playing locals too. And my make is ranked play because I just, I really like the competitive aspect of it. But I would like, the Combat League was a great idea that was done poorly. And my favorite rank system of all time is the League of Legends rank system, because the seasons last a year. And now I think that you usually start like kind of close to the bottom. You used to have placements. And I'm not opposed to placements, but it's like I liked that you go from like iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and you have to move up. And Street Fighter 6 does it, Tekken does it. So, and I want like individual character rankings, so it's like I don't want to get up to diamond with Katana, and then because I decided to start playing a different character, I lose my rank. I think, I really liked character individual ranked, systems. And on top of that, I would really like rewards for reaching a rank, or like seasonal rewards, but not in the way that Combat League did. Combat League did it to where they would have like, oh, you only need to play 5 games, here's this, you get to this rank, here's this, you get to this rank, here's this, which was fine, but there would be a new season every other month, and a year later they would take the same rewards from that season and flip it around to where it's like, oh, you reached Elder God, well, that's fine, now it's on peasant level or whatever. So it's like no big deal. It's like, well, it's like I worked so hard for this, like I think I should be able to you get this costume for getting to a certain rank, you know what I mean? So that I really hope that they do. I mean, they don't have to do it exactly how I just said, but I just hope that they have different rank systems than they have done in the past. And especially MKX was all about like, it was like an ELO score, and I didn't even like that. Like, dude, no, I want to get to diamond, I want to get to platinum or whatever it is, I want to get, I like that. And my break was it still is crossplay. I think,
yeah, because they're being like really weird.
They are
crossplays in the game or not, which is,
they have to bring it in, dude. They need crossplay. It has to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I'm sure it will be in. It just might not be in at launch, which would suck.
It has to be crossplay for PC. That's the biggest thing for me. Is going to PC. It has to be crossplay for PC.
So that's a big player base.
Yeah.
And I guess I'd like to say is that they're still trying to work on it, and they just don't want to say yes or no, because
I think that's probably the case. Sure. I mean, they put it up on the website and then like almost immediately took it down. Yeah. If you have a PS5, you're probably cool. You're probably in the clear because everybody plays on PS5 for the most part, but then the other half plays on PC. I don't know a lot of people who play on Xbox. In fact, when I go to locals, it's just PS5s and PCs, and that's all there is.
Funny, because I'll go to conventions and like them of all places, I'll be like, oh cool, they got Mortal Kombat, and then they got the Xbox controllers. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? Yeah. But yeah, like I feel like Xbox is definitely the smallest player base for fighting games.
Right. So, and apparently with MKX, I remember the Xbox port was actually like the best port.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Graphics or controls? Or?
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, that was the case with Xbox. I remember that. But yeah, dude, do you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to this week because I know Evo's this week. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get some reveals there. Do we know? I've been getting very mixed messages with this. Which day is Mortal Kombat going to be at Evo? Do you know?
I do not. You'd have to look at the schedule, and most likely what's going to happen is they are going to show the game or show the reveal, because this is how all the other reveals happen at Evo, is after the tournament. So they'll do the tournament, they'll give you the trophies and stuff, and then Ed Boon, I don't know if he's come on stage, and then they'll show a trailer.
And then we also might be getting a combat cast this week. That's also been something they've been.
I think that was for Friday. Like they were going to do a combat cast. It would be cool if they did another combat cast. I would like for them to do that. But if we do get a Kombat cast, I have a feeling they're not going to reveal anything. It's just going to be like, how does Lee May play, or something like that.
Well, I saw something that said like there was something that leaked, and that there's like the name of the Kombat cast or something is called like Revenge of the Exiled or something.
Dude,
And,
hey,
I mean, I guess
real fast.
that could be referring to Lee May.
Do
What's
this.
up?
Do this. Turn your hand sideways. Put your pinky down. Okay, never mind. Because your pinky was up, but it was like this. And I don't know if you knew this. See how, shoot, I keep hitting this. See how my ring finger?
Yeah.
There's like only like 0.0001% of people who can move their pinky down.
Oh.
Without doing this. And I thought you were doing it. I was like, because you had your hand up. Yeah.
Maybe I did it for like 1 second.
Because if you try putting your pink. You can't do it. See?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
A friend of mine, like a long time ago, he pointed, he's like, here, do this. And I was like, but he could do it. And he was just like, only like 0.01% of people in the world can actually do that. And ever since then, and then I saw you like put your hand up and you had your finger down there like that. I'm like, dude, he might be one of those. But anyway, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway, go ahead. You continue.
Yeah, there was something about like, I thought something leaked that said like there's like a revenge. It's called like Revenge of the Exiled for the Kombat cast. But I guess maybe that could just be talking about like, oh, they're going to talk about Lee May, like you said, because I think she was exiled right from being in Umgadi because of the whole King Jared thing. So it could be that
she quit. Her bio says she quit and left.
Oh, okay. Because my brain immediately went to like Reptile, and it's very weird that like Reptile has not been revealed yet. Because I kept thinking like, yeah, they're going to get him out of the way, but I immediately thought they were going to reveal something.
I think
there.
Reptile and Havoc are going to be the two that are going to be revealed last. Reptile did not even cross my mind when I was talking about like, okay, you show like the second to most requested first, and then you show the most requested last in a marketing cycle. And Reptile is one of those characters I think is probably on par with Havoc as far as like most requested. So I would not be surprised if Reptile and Havoc were like in that realm of things. I mean, what if Ashrah is a cleric of chaos? That'd be like Ashrah.
I mean, hey, I feel like they do need another character from Chaos Realm. They have a few characters from Mortal Realm. I feel like they got to have at least one of the characters from Chaos Realm. Not saying it should be an existing character, but
that's why I think there is another rumor. It's not even a leak, dude. It's like a rumor that there is going to be another Chaos Realm, or there's going to be Havoc and someone else, and that is the new character. Like every Mortal Kombat brings on a new character. Yeah. Every Mortal Kombat always has a new character. And one of the rumors is that there's going to be two Chaos characters, and one is going to be Havoc, and it's going to be a female Chaos character.
And you know what? It's like, it's funny because I remember there was a lot of rumors saying that Collector was going to be from Chaos Realm. That
I hope
didn't
not.
pan out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see that. I do think Chaos Realm needs at least one other character.
Yeah.
And say my other thing is I really want them to just rip the Band-Aid off. Is Sareena going to be playable, or is she going to be a cameo? Like, just get it out of the way.
The other rumor is that Sareena is going to be Combat Pack 2.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not one for leaks. I try to avoid as many as possible, but sometimes they're just unavoidable, especially when people straight up post them on Twitter. And
the thing is, if it's the one you're talking about, though, there was something in that does maybe contradict things. That one specifically said that Takeda is Hanzo, but I just think that
was
weird.
So dumb. No, people said that about Combat Pack 1, that Takeda was Hanzo, and I was like, no, his name is Takeda. It says it right there. Takeda Takahashi. That does not make sense whatsoever. I think Hanzo is going to be in the game, but he might be Reptile, dude. He might be. People keep saying that it's Han, and I was like, dude, I'm sorry, but Smoke does not look like a Hanzo. He looks like a Tomas.
Yeah. I think if Smoke was Hanzo, I don't think he would have white hair or gray hair. I think he'd have black
and he
hair.
would look Japanese.
That's true.
But I think that
And
Yeah.
that was one reason I'm like, I don't know if that leak is true or not.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it could be one of those things where it's like it could be a mislead and he actually is Hanzo, or it's one of those instances where it's like because sometimes leakers get fed like wrong information with the right information. That could have just been something that like is a wrong part of it.
That's exactly what it was, and that's why I've learned like being a content creator too. Like, I've learned a lot because like at first, whenever I would hear a leak, okay, in the past, and this is just me. This is just how I am when it comes to leaks. Is that or leaks? Spoilers. Excuse me. With spoilers, when people would tell me a spoiler, it would make me want to watch the show or movie more. That's just me because I'm just like looking for it. Like for instance,
It depends what the thing is with me. Like
mhm.
if it's something I'm hyped for, and then there's something you tell me that happens that's really cool, and it's a spoiler, I'm like, oh, now I'm interested.
Yeah, an example for me is like Red Wedding for Game of Thrones when they said
Hmm.
like, oh, the 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 Starks are going to be pretty much killed off in the Red Wedding episode. Then you watch that, and this is how they die and stuff like that, and it actually made me like being like, when's this going to happen? When's it going to happen? Oh, they're at the wedding. And you're kind of at the edge of your seat, just being like, who's going to stab who? When's this going to, when's this going to happen? Kind of thing. But you are kind of right. It can depend on some of the things. So I try to avoid them as much as possible. And like I said, some of them are just like unavoidable, especially when people just post
Yeah.
stuff on Twitter. And I don't really go on Reddit very much, so or at all. But as a content creator, I would have people DM me just saying like, "Hey, here's the leak roster." I'm like, "Where'd you get this?" A friend of a friend used to be roommates with Stephanie.
Oh wow.
Or a friend of a friend a friend of a friend is cousin's best friend's roommate with Tyler Lansdowne.
I have
So
seen some content creators, yeah, that they'll do videos about leaks that they've been DM'd.
mhm,
The thing is though, their videos are usually about speculation and rumors and all of that.
yeah,
Your channel doesn't really seem to be about that much. So for
yeah, I never
whatever.
talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, like, it's fun to talk about some of the things. Like, for instance, me and some of my friends actually did take all the leaks that we heard. We made a list and put them all together to see which ones are the most accurate. Like, but that's fun. That's just for fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it has nothing to do with us actually speculating like what's true. It's just like let's take all the leaks and find out which one was and it was more so just like almost like scorekeeping, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it is like I will admit, like, because I'm very involved in like the rumors and leaks channel on Nethercast. And like
mhm.
I do it is like kind of fun. Like
Exactly. I look at more
like
as like a game.
yeah. Um but yeah, I will say, as much as it would suck that like we'd have to wait a while for Sareena, that Combat Pack 2, if it was true, that'd be pretty good.
And
Won't
knowing
lie.
and that's fine if that comeback pack 2 is not coming for a year, because it looks
Mhm.
like they're doing individual like, releases. So
Yeah.
like they said like Homelander 2024 or something like that, right? But in the first person I think is
Yeah, spring
Omni-Man.
2024.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
they're doing that, which is great, but just, when we get that combat pack too, it's like if she's in that combat pack, even if it is a year from now, I don't care. As long as she's in the game,
Yeah,
that's all I
yeah.
care about.
We can breathe a sigh of relief. Like, all right, she's
Yeah,
gonna be playable
yeah.
after like 1,000 years.
And
Yeah.
if and this is what this happens to every game too. It's like I'll play for months and months and months on end and take a break, go play something else or whatever like that. That would be the one thing. It's like, okay, if I get like overdone with Mortal Kombat and
Yeah,
they
there's
show
other
me
things
and
to
they
play.
show me Sareena, I'm just like I'm playing again. Like, I'm coming back.
I
And
was also gonna say too, like, I mean, well, can I mention the other characters in that?
sure.
Is that okay? Yeah. Well, like Noob Saibot's my favorite Mortal Kombat character. So I'd be
Hmm.
getting my favorite character back. I'd be getting my most wanted character, Sareena. I'd be getting my most wanted guest character. Um, this one's a little bit more of a divisive one. I do like Deathstroke, and I know he was obnoxious to play as an Injustice 1, but he is one of my favorite DC characters, so
He
I'd be
was
getting
fun
him
to play in
back.
Justice One. He
Oh no,
wasn't.
I mean play against. Play
Oh
against.
yeah,
I know. Yeah, yeah.
he
I
wasn't as
love
bad to
playing as
play
him.
against Deadshot in Injustice Two, but
Oh yeah,
that was the
yeah.
worst.
the other two characters, Kano and Harley Quinn, I'd like them to be last, but you know,
I'm
but yeah,
of that specific week, Noob and Sareena were really cool, and I would hope for that. I think that would be cool. I think that'd be really cool for it to be like another realm combat pack. Like that'd be kind of cool.
yeah, because that is very hell themed. You got
Yeah,
Noob, you got Sareena, you got Doomslayer. I mean, the other three,
exactly,
exactly.
exactly. But I don't know why they would even bring back Harley Quinn. Bring back. I'm sorry,
I
just
had
bring
this
it.
feeling like I had this feeling she would
Yeah,
be.
Joker
That's why I'm
makes
like, yeah, I
sense,
can see
but
that.
Joker makes sense, but Harley Quinn not so much. Not back. I said bring her
Yeah.
back. I just don't see it. But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming on, dude. This was a lot of fun, and
Yeah, thanks for
yeah,
really
absolutely.
fun.
We'll definitely have to have you back as more and more stuff comes out and everything. And yeah, make sure to check out Ragiroth in his channel. Make sure to link it in the description below. Please check out my giveaway because the view count for that is pretty low for a giveaway, and so far the amount of people who have actually like entered into the contest I think is at like 67. I have to check that out. So yeah, I am definitely doing 2 giveaways, so if you want to be a part of that, I will link that in the description below. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you again, Ragiroth, for coming on. Really appreciate it, and until next time, shred out.